You are listening to the Call to Action podcast, where we aim to inspire, educate, and inform entrepreneurs and self-starters on tech and tips related to navigating this ever-changing world. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to episode 18 of the Call to Action podcast. My name is Shantae, and I am the host, as well as a person that runs the blog, ctamarketing.biz. And today, I'm going to cover just a few things. I'm going to keep it short. It's been a very busy week, but I still wanted to make sure that I gave you all some valuable information that you can use this week. So I'm going to share just a couple of things with you. But as always, before I go into the episode, I'm going to share this motivational quote from the late Nelson Mandela. So here is the motivational quote for episode 18 of the Call to Action podcast. A winner is a dreamer who never gives up. Entrepreneurs, you guys, let's hear this one more time. A winner is a dreamer who never gives up. I want to thank Nelson Mandela for that wonderful quote. I do find that very inspiring, and I hope that you all found that inspiring as well. So let's talk about episode 18. First, I want to do a recap on episode 17. That was actually a fireside chat that I had with Matthew John Beneke, and that was a great podcast. If you have not listened to episode 17, go back and check it out. He is a speculative fiction writer. So here's a clip from that podcast. I just want to give you a little tease, but make sure that you check out episode 17 of the Call to Action podcast with Matthew John Beneke as the guest. Take a listen. Please join me in welcoming our guest, the author of the Cosmogonia series, Matthew John Beneke. Matthew, thank you for joining me on the Fireside Chat on the Call to Action podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me.
That's awesome. So, Matthew, tell me, first of all, I got to go back. So, define speculative fiction writer. Tell me just a little bit about that.
Sure. Speculative fiction is sort of an umbrella term that covers a bunch of different elements of, I guess, a bunch of different styles of writing. And when I first started to write my first book, when people would say, what's it about or what genre is it, I really didn't know how to answer them. And thankfully, another writer alerted me to speculative fiction. So speculative fiction pulls from a few different styles, like there's science fiction aspects, horror aspects, supernatural. It's kind of
So I hope you enjoyed that clip. Make sure that you go and check out the full episode so that you can hear all the good information that Matthew shares on that podcast. Now, if you haven't been to the site lately, I do want to let you know that I am now offering Call to Action merchandise. It is now available on ctamarketing.biz. I have everything from hoodies to t-shirts to coffee mugs to mouse pads. Yes, it's like really cool stuff that if you are a YouTuber or if you do videos on Instagram, it's really cool for stuff like that because it has call to action words on the front of the shirt. So things like follow me or hashtag influencer or trust me, I'm an influencer. Just like really cool fun stuff. But it's a really cool way to market yourself kind of indirectly if you are shooting your videos or even taking photos and posting them on social media. If you have not gotten started with the Audible Challenge 2020, you still have time. Remember, Amazon is giving you a $20 Amazon gift certificate for completing 3 Audible books before March 3rd. So if you have not gotten started yet, you still have time. And get those 3 audiobooks in. That's like an easy $20, and you can use that on anything on Amazon.com. And you know, Amazon pretty much has everything on their website. So make sure that you get started with the Audible Challenge 2020. If you're an author, if you're an entrepreneur, if you have a product, I want to hear your story. And I'm more interested in allowing people to connect with you as a person. So if you have something that you want to share, maybe you learned something along the way, if you're an entrepreneur, or if there's just some things that you found that you may have gotten from someone else as far as some very helpful or useful information, or things, some roadblocks that you may have come through or discovered that you want to kind of turn back and help the next person coming along. I want to hear from you. I want to hear that story. And I want to welcome you to be a guest on the Fireside Chat on the Call to Action podcast. So I have some shows that you can go and take a listen to. The one I did in episode 17 was one. There's others. I have other authors that I've had on the show, but I'm also open to hearing the stories of other entrepreneurs. So I would love to hear that. Contact me. You can send me an email at myctamarketing.biz@gmail.com. Send me an email and I would love to connect with you so that I can have you as a guest on the Call to Action podcast. That is all that I have for episode 18 of the Call to Action podcast. Remember this quote as you move forward throughout the rest of your week and as you start your morning, from the late Nelson Mandela: "A winner is a dreamer that never gave up." Until next time. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Call to Action podcast. Make sure to visit me on my blog at ctamarketing.biz. There, you can find articles for entrepreneurs and self-starters on tech and tips to help navigate this ever-changing world. Until next time.